Hi everyone, it's me, Beatty Kelly Sunflower. So I'm on today to do a hashtag. I'm a bit late to the table actually. Anyway, this hashtag is called One World Tarot and it's by two tarot tubers, Nova Mundi Tarot and Elements of Tarot. So I will add both of the original videos in the description bar. So this hashtag is about creators or artists from different parts of the world or tarot kind of themes about different places of the world. So we've got to use 7 decks. I'm guessing because there's probably 7 continents. That's just my assumption. I don't know if it's true. So I'm going to crack on. So the first deck I want to talk about is Anna of Green Gables. This tarot deck, it was created by a British author and artist called Jemima Jarman. It was a Kickstarter deck. I'm not sure whether the actual story that this tarot deck is themed is British, but I know that the creator and artist is British and she's Anne Gable fan. So I'm going solely on the artist. I do remember having this book as a child, but I can't remember the story behind it. Unfortunately, my brain fog is getting the better of me. So it's a 78 card tarot deck. This is the main character, Anne Gable. I love the backs of the cards as well, which is again Anne Gable in school uniform. It follows a Rider-Waite-Smith system, so even if you're not familiar with the storyline, you can still read these cards. So sometimes there's tarot decks based on a theme. And if you don't know the characters or you don't know the story, you can't always relate that to the tarot cards. But this particular deck you can, without actually knowing what the story is about. Anne Gable does feature on most of the cards, or if she doesn't feature on most of the cards like this one, you can see her school hat and things that are to do with her. So it's a beautiful deck. I think that the creator might have also designed this, I'm not sure. So I haven't used this deck for quite a while, but this is a deck that I'm probably going to get out in the summer, because to me it looks like it's a very summery kind of deck based on the colour palette. So the next deck is an oracle deck around Pidgin English affirmations. The creator, Valerie Awali, is Nigerian born and bred. I think at one point she was living in the UK when I bought this deck, but I think now she lives in a European country, and I can't remember what country it is. I think it might be Switzerland, but I'm not sure. There's an about card. So it says here, Awali Pidgin affirmation cards were created and designed by Valerie Awali Kerry. The name Awali means good luck in Igbo. The percentage of all the profits from each sale is donated to Women's Trust, a UK-based specialist mental health charity providing free counselling and therapy for women who have experienced domestic abuse. And this was in 2021, which was around the time that I bought this deck. So this is some more information about the deck. Because the creator is Igbo, I wasn't quite sure what Pidgin English she was using, because in Nigeria you have Yoruba Pidgin, you have Igbo Pidgin. So I asked her what kind of Pidgin English is this, and she said it was universal Pidgin English, which means that any Nigerian tribe would understand this Pidgin English. She said it's not Igbo Pidgin English. So what it is, it has the Pidgin English above and the English below, and it says the vision for my life is free of baggage, grudges, and anything that doesn't survive me operating from a place of love and wholeness. So how I've been using this deck is for like daily affirmation pulls, because I just tend to read the English version. I actually bought my aunt this deck and she talks Pidgin English fluently. So when she pulls these cards for daily affirmation, she reads the Pidgin part of it. So they're kind of like bilingual. or I wouldn't even say that they're bilingual, because Pidgin English is really broken English. So you can either pull the card and read the English version, or you can pull the card and read the Pidgin version. Even dirty water, they quench fire, which means no matter what my past looks like, I deserve happiness. I expect it, receive it, and accept it. I also like the artwork. It's just very simple and stuff. Make honor, try here word. I have all the tools necessary to accomplish today's goals. I listen to my guts. I am capable, strong, and wise. It's just a beautiful deck. I use this deck for daily pulls. Sometimes with my oracle cards, I like to use them to clarify reading, but this particular deck, I pull it for a daily pull and leave it on a stand. And my auntie, who I bought this card for, she doesn't believe in divination and stuff like that, but I bought her this deck, and she pulls it as well every day and puts it on her dressing table, and she reads the Pidgin English one. And as I said earlier, even though the creator is Nigerian born and bred, she doesn't live in the UK no more. She lives, I'm sure she said Switzerland, but I can't remember now. But at the time when this deck was created back in 2021, all the proceeds were going to a domestic violence charity. It's a beautiful deck. I just gentle. I can be strong and still be gentle. I align with my inner child, my softer side, to find balance. It's just a beautiful deck. The next deck is called the Bad Ass Tarot by Hayley Spencer. So Hayley Spencer is an artist and who was born in USSR. She's also mixed with Jewish heritage, and this is her first edition of the deck. So there are other editions, but this edition was actually hand cut and laminated. It's a beautiful deck. It's a collage deck. My only kind of like ick about this deck is it hasn't got a guidebook, and in this title card she says that you've got to use your intuition, but my argument is the person reading the deck did not create the deck, so we're not going to know the artist's mindset. And yes, you know, we can read cards using our intuition, but it's also nice to know why the artist chose the archetypes as well, because that can help your intuition. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. I think on her website, though, she did start to kind of like give explanations for the cards. But I remember at the time when I bought this deck, it wasn't cheap because it was hand cut. I think it was about £75, and I bought this deck many years ago. I think she should have done a guidebook because of the wackiness of the deck. You know, she just can't expect somebody to pick up her deck and know what was in her thought process when she was designing it. And for the price that I paid, there should have been a guidebook or a pull-out or something like that. But saying that, it is a nice deck. I love the fact that it's handmade and it's been laminated and hand cut and stuff like that. It's just beautiful, quirky and wacky. I think it is supposed to follow the Rider-Waite-Smith system. When I first got it, I did struggle again because of the wackiness of the deck, but I can read it now with my eyes closed. But it was quite challenging to read because there was no guidebook. But this deck is from a Ukrainian artist called Hayley Spencer. So the next deck is a mass market deck. It's called Tarot Nicolina de las Americas. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's by Patrick McGrath Mons, and he's a Puerto Rican artist. At the back of the box, it says Tarot Nicolina de las Americas explores the period when the New World and the Old World collided, bringing about a turning point in human civilization and the dawn of globalization. As a Puerto Rican artist, Patrick McGrath Menz felt compelled to address issues of social and economic struggle through his tarot art. The result is a stunning series of visual narratives depicting 500 years of American and European colonization and conquests in Latin America. There is much to be learned from history, and these lessons can be applied to our lives through the art and archetypes of tarot. Includes 78 cards and a 98-page guidebook. And the titles are in Spanish, English, Portuguese and French. It's a US Games publication. Now this deck is one of my decks that I haven't actually opened yet, because I do have a couple of decks that are in cellophane, and this is one of them. So I haven't actually used it yet, and it is my aim or goal to use it by the end of the year. I've seen flip-throughs of it. That's the reason why I bought it, and it is, to me, Rider-Waite inspired, but unfortunately I can only show you the full card, which is nice. You can see he's got his rucksack, you can see he's got his dog, and it's got the word for, I don't know what language the top one is, but it's in different languages, as the box said, and the cards are numbered. So beautiful deck, and I might do an unboxing of this deck before the end of the year. So this mass market deck, the Dreaming Way Tarot, is quite popular in the tarot community. It's a US Games publication. Was created by a Korean artist. Just open it up. I really love this deck. I've even got like the Lenormand deck that goes with it as well, with similar artwork. So this is a Rider-Waite inspired deck, and if you look closely at the kind of archetypes, they do have Korean facial features if you look closely. But I think when I first bought this deck I didn't realise that. It's only when I found out that the artist was Korean that I've realised that the actual archetypes are Korean. This is one of my first quirky kind of tarot decks. You know, I really love the artwork. It reads like a dream. Look at the cups. I love the design of the cups. Just gorgeous. But it's Rider-Waite inspired by Korean artists, and the archetypes actually do look Korean. I really recommend this deck to anyone who doesn't like the regular R.W. Smith art and does like a bit of quirky. It's just gorgeous. And look at the backs of the cards, absolutely lovely. So the Tarot of the Moors deck is also a mass market deck, and the theme is Spain. This deck is based on the history of the cultural richness of Spain, especially the era of Moorish Spain. So it's basically about the Moors who lived in Spain. I haven't used this deck for many years actually. I bought it when it was first published. I used to use it when I first got it because you can see the edging is kind of wearing, but I kind of pull it away because other decks kind of took over my interest. But this is a very underrated mass market deck in my opinion. Some of the keywords have been changed and I love the backs. So the Fool is called the Juggler. The Magician is called the Charmer. High Priestess is the Sibyl. But it is Rider-Waite inspired. So the Empress, you know, instead of being in the back garden, she's sitting in the desert, which this could be her back garden. We don't know. The Sultan is the Emperor. I kind of love the colour palette. I think this was my first ever matte deck because the cards are very, very, very matte in this deck. Look at the Lovers cards. Love the Chariot. I should start using this deck again, but to me this is more of an autumn feel deck to me. So maybe in the autumn when I'm getting my decks together to read with, I might include this deck because I haven't read it for many years. But the guidebook is also very informative in a simple way. So it gives you a lot of history and why it was used, and etc, etc. And then for each of the archetype, it gives you like a black and white picture, a historic title. So the juggler is the spirit of the ether. Maternal letter is air. Hebrew alphabet is Alf. Path 11, stimulating of fiery intelligence, folly, unstable, spontaneity, carefree and risk. And it gives you basic information with the upright and the reversed. And that's the author, who's actually American, but we're going by the theme, which is Spain. So it's a gorgeous deck. And I wish people spoke about this deck more, but they don't no more. They used to when it first came out. The final deck that I want to talk about for this hashtag is a Lenormand deck, and it's called When Life Gives You Mangoes. It said it's a Lenormand oracle, but I think it's Lenormand inspired because a lot of the archetypal names have been changed. And the country that this represents is the Caribbean. So the artist says she's from the Caribbean, but she doesn't specifically say what Caribbean country she comes from. In the guidebook, she mentions St. Vincent and Barbados, but she doesn't specifically say, what part of the Caribbean she's from. So this is a circular deck. Let's open it up. And a lot of the archetypes have been changed. This one has kept the same name, Sun. A positive conclusion approaches. So it gives you like a key word. The moon is the same original name. Secrets and inner fears are coming to the surface. The key, revelations and achievements await you. Delu, abundance and material wealth. The entry of the ocean surrounds you. So this would be the fish, but it's been changed to Mardelu. The marble would be the rider, institutional, fast-moving energy or events. So it gives you keywords for each one. As I said before, the names have been changed. So the baby would be the child, new beginnings and learning old lessons. I really like the guidebook as well, because even though the guidebook is thin, it does give you quite a lot of detail, and she links it to her life experiences in the Caribbean. So if I take the first card, which is the marble, which would be the rider in the traditional Lenormand deck, it's got leadership, strength, confidence, innovator, beginning, the energy of the fall, a starting point. So she actually also links it to some of them, not all of them. She links them to the tarot card. So the playing card association, which I do like to read with, has got the 9 of hearts. I wish she'd put a symbol just somewhere on the deck for you to kind of see that. Sentence words, speed, fast. Actually, let me get the card that I'm talking about. That'd make it easier, wouldn't it? So you can see it as I'm reading it. That's the marble. So it's got sentence words, speed, fast change, swift movement, lacking impulse control and direction. Meaning, in primary school across St. Vincent, students would carry entire jars filled with marbles for games during recess, with all the intensity of a dominoes match. These marbles were well loved and treasured. Marbles were pit against each other, consistently launched at high speeds in deliberate, calculated angles and moves. While I do not remember the exact rules of the game, I did remember that speed, position and planning one's path was all important features in order to secure a win. If you have been drawn to this card, consider the parts of your life you are inquiring about and know that life is about to speed up. And when it says here, plan effectively and stay attentive, because marbles have a funny habit. Once launched, if you take your eyes off them, they can disappear into bushes, never to be found again. Marbles can also represent bountiful energy that, when used effectively, can change your life for the better. If poorly aimed, however, marbles can also cause injury, so be mindful of the people or situations in which you put your efforts in. So I kind of like the write-up. And even though she has put the Playing Cards Association in there, I would have liked to hear her interpretation of the Nine of Hearts or the Nine of Cups as I read them as. So thank you so much, Nova Monday and Elements of Tarot, for devising this hashtag. I will leave links in the description bar to the original videos and the decks that I've showcased if they're still available. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.